Hello, greetings to all present here today on the occasion of International Disability Day. As a special parent and caregiver to a special child, today's topic at Eton is very close to my heart as well. That is the caregiver's challenges and the way they cope with them. Emotional strength is the first coping mechanism. One needs a lot of emotional strength to stand up to the challenges, to come out of the denial and shock mode after the child's diagnosis. Parenthood does prepare us to face challenges in certain ways for everyone, but caregiving of a special child or a disabled child does not come very easy. One sees that their loved one in the hospital attached with tubes or undergoing surgeries, being diagnosed with different ailments or undergoing therapies as well, given stares in public places or commented upon nastily, and it hurts and pains a lot. One has to develop very thick skin to face the world about this, and one has to develop a heart of steel to take as many blows as are thrown by the situations at us. The strength for this may come from different places for everyone. Some may inherently have that strength and only discover it once faced with the situation. Others may have to gradually build it up with the help of, say, therapist or family or friend circle or relatives or even a therapist. Patience. They say patience is a virtue. No one can understand it better than a primary caregiver. Whether it is reaching the child's physical development milestones or academic or behavioral challenges, we have to be extremely patient. There are no magic wands or miracles happening here in therapies or treatments. We must take each day as it comes. It's always one day and one step at a time for us. One day we can be over the moon for something that the child has achieved, and the next day we can feel down in the dumps because of some problems that we have faced along with our dependent person. Then there are different challenges along the way as the child grows or as the disabled person grows, because then there are schooling years, there are physical developments, there is vocational settlement of that person, or there is final rehabilitation of the person after the parent's demise. So it is really never ending for the caregiver. No 2 days can be the same. We must be extremely consistent with our efforts. There are no long breaks in the consistency. That is the only way of life a caregiver really knows. Appropriate guidance and other parent success stories can keep motivating the parent to do so and develop more patience. Family support. Familial support is very important because it is the innermost cushion of comfort and support for the caregiver himself. It helps the caregiver to accept the situation much easier than in other cases. We all go through the natural notions of denial, shock, why this happened to me, why my child had to have the disability, and so on. There is fear about life and future ahead with the child. But then we can seek comfort from the love of our family and draw strength from there. Just knowing that your family is by your side, no matter what, helps a lot in doing this. Family is also great support when it comes to the day-to-day nitty-gritties of life. Like for example, when the caregiver is facing a new diagnosis for his dependent, that time the immediate or extended family can look after the daily household things and take off the caregiver's mind of that stress and give the caregiver the time to settle or accept the situation, let the diagnosis sink in and learn to cope with it. Meeting parents with similar experiences. In the various waiting rooms of doctors, therapists, and consultation centers, we meet other parents who are faced with similar challenges. Even within a particular disability, there is a wide range of severity or variations of ailments and so on. So we all need different kind of help all the time, and all medical experts do not have answers to these questions. Like for example, in case of Down syndrome, why the children have their tongue sticking out a little bit sometimes, or why do they get up in the middle of the night and sleep like this, bending over a pillow or bolster like that. The doctors do not tell you the answers to this. It is only the other parents who have already gone through that situation know the answers. Like, oh, their jaw is very small, that is why their tongue appears that it is sticking out, or they have very narrow nasal canal, so the breathing becomes difficult sometimes for them. So they when they sit, then they are in a comfortable position to sleep that way. So the parents who have gone through this situation guide the new parents for many small issues like this. That is why we look up to the support groups. There is a lot of data sharing, first hand feedback sharing about schools, therapies, medical experts in the vicinity, in the support group. The support group also provides unconditional emotional support and a place to vent out for the caregiver. No one is going to judge you over there if you say that I'm feeling very low today, or I feel hopeless today, or I'm not feeling good about my situation today, because we are all in the same boat. In my case, there was no such support group available at that time. That is why when we friend mothers came together and we started our support group, and that is how Project Dawn came into existence. Alternate careers. A special child or family member often requires constant care and attendance in the initial years. Mostly, the mother becomes the primary caregiver and has to give up her job. This can cause her a lot of emotional stress. But then they learn to remodel their lives around the needs of their dependent person and earn a livelihood in alternate ways. Like, for example, they can go for work from home options or work their schedules around the children's schooling or therapy hours. Sometimes I have seen mothers taking training in special education itself and entering the same field so that they can be close to the child. Sometimes parents group come together and start vocational and sometimes educational setup for disabled or special individuals, and the management of the same itself becomes their profession and occupation. Then advocacy is a huge cause. Initially we are too busy with caregiving and very reluctant to talk about what we do as caregivers or what we go through as caregivers. But I have realized that talking out helps emotionally for us too, and then we can become advocates for our cause to reach out to the society to bring about a change in the required areas, to spread awareness in the society about the situation. Until this situation arrives at our own doorsteps, nobody gets into it. That is the reality of life. So we, once it happens to us in our family, or we face the situation in very close relation, then we pick up the cause and then we feel like working towards the change required. Whether it is accessibility to public places, etc., or whether it is reforms in education area for the special individuals, or inclusion in public places, or job opportunities, and so on. Experience sharing also helps a lot in an attempt to reach out to other parents as well as to reach out to the society. We openly share about our dependents and their conditions with people we meet. Many times it so happens that people want to talk to us about it, but they do not know what is the proper way to approach us. Or sometimes some parents do feel offended as well. But it helps to speak about our challenges and our dependents' challenges, what helped us in our journey, and what we did to reach where we are today. This helps us to release our pent up emotions, and sometimes this sharing helps to inspire other parents. For example, the event like today, or the articles in newspapers, or some parents do write a book about their experience. So when some other parent reads these things or watches these things, they too feel inspired to work harder for the positive results. Taking professional help. Most of the times parents cope with the situation with the passage of time or with the help of family, friends, and all these mechanisms I mentioned. However, there are cases when a parent or a caregiver is not able to cope with the situation, or there is still denial or lack of acceptance. So sometimes the help of a psychologist or psychiatrist or medication is needed for the caregiver to come to term with the diagnosis and work well with the caregiving. Apart from this, one is always seeking advice from the experts like therapists, remedial teachers, special educators, tutors, or psychiatrists and psychologists for the well-being of the or the caregiving of the child, as and when we come to know more and more about the issues faced. Always being a student, this is very important, that it is a given that one finds out about various conditions, ailments, requirements for a disabled person um, along the journey as one is faced with the situation. So a caregiver becomes a student forever. whatever comes with the diagnosis, the ailments, the requirements regarding education or physical development, whether it is the medical facts or the possibilities of learning or education for that disabled person, the issues around education like the special education and the techniques of teaching academics to that child also are slightly varied. It is often said that we are the best therapist that a child can have because we are constantly with the disabled person, because the therapist see the child or the person for a very limited time. We get all the tips and training from the therapists and other experts, and we learn the ropes of this job on the actually on the job in caregiving, and this process is constantly ongoing as is needed. Hence, we as caregivers have to be open to new ideas, to learn new things, new techniques, new information as we require it. Celebrating small wins. It helps not to look at the mountain that we need to climb, but the first 5 steps in front of our eyes. It is always one step and one day at a time. Even small skills like potty training or the child being able to grip a pencil with a pincer, with a grip like this is a huge effort. This teaches us to enjoy and celebrate small things in life. It is as good as climbing Mount Everest for us. It is, and there is no rat race, and the comparison is only with our progress from yesterday. So it is a very beautiful thing that helps us a lot. When consistent efforts start showing results, whether on time or late, they motivate us a lot to do better. Looking after self, the exhaustion, health issues, and tiredness starts to take a toll on the caregiver after a few years. More than before, the caregivers today are keen to know more about how to maintain their mental health, fitness, well-being, or me time or hobbies more than before. Again, working around the dependent schedules, many are finding time to do the same and know more about the same. What can the larger society do for the caregivers? They can they can give them inclusion. Caregivers need empathy and understanding. After a lifetime of hard work for caregiving, for the dignity of a family member, they need to be recognized for the same. They need to be included in the society so that their dependent will also be included. Commitment. We need serious commitment on part of the government, the education sector, the corporate sector or the charitable sector to make available the resources that the specially abled persons need. Sensitization of all from early age. Often we do not even want to look at a disabled person or anyone with deformity. What if we teach our neurotypical child to empathize with the disabled folks from early on? If we explain to them in a simple language why the person has a certain kind of disability, maybe they can be more accepting of that person in their surroundings, and then this can then lead to a very friendly world and a beautiful world for our wards and dependents in the years to come. Only the government passing laws and taking out GRs is never going to help. Till we as individuals start practicing empathy in our day-to-day life, till then we have a very long road to cross and a long way to go. I thank Eaton for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts today on this topic. Thank you.